Welcome to today's webinar on Happy Schooling, Initiatives to Vanquish COVID-19. I would like to start the session by briefing about MyEdubag. MyEdubag is a brand by I Deserve Education Private Limited based in New Delhi. We are operational from 2018 and work in 4 different segments of school education, namely self-learning, academic and non-academic content, distribution, publishing, homeschooling through live classes. Currently, we are active with 200 plus schools and more than 1 lakh students across India and UAE. I'm very happy to share that we have been featured by Ed Arabia and Your Story as top educational company of India. Now, as you all know that today's topic is Happy Schooling, Initiatives to Vanquish COVID-19. Today we have amongst 3 eminent school leaders who are going to share their best practices of happy schooling designed and followed by them in their respective school. I'm very honored to introduce our today's speakers, which are Dr. Rajeshwari Savant, Mr. Sharat Diwari, and I would like to mention here that Dr.Amrita Vohra will not be able to attend this session because of some personal reasons. So Mr.Rohitash Raj, who is the primary head of GEMS, is going to speak on behalf of her. Now, I would like to welcome you all once again. Now, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Rajeshwari Savant. Dr. Rajeshwari Savant comes with a rich experience of around 30 years in school education and is currently working as a principal of Gwalior Glory High School, located in Gwalior. Under her leadership, school is able to become one of the very prestigious schools of the region. She is a recipient of many awards like CBSE National Award for Teachers 2012, Adarsh Shikshak Salman 2013 by ITM University Gwalior, Award for Dedicated Service in Education in the region by Maharashtra Samaj, Best District and Zonal Principal Award from 2013 to 2020 by Science Olympiad Foundation, New Delhi, nominated and shortlisted twice for the National Teachers Award by MHRD. Currently, she is also serving as chairperson of Sahodya Gwalior. Now, I would like to introduce you to our second speaker of the day, that is Mr. Sharat Diwari. Mr. Sharat Diwari has been an educator with Mayoor College General Council for over 24 years, also having work experience in schools in England. He's also certified by University of Cambridge. He has authored a book on computer science and has accomplished a course in counseling from University of California, USA. He has attended and conducted numerous workshops in India, Germany, Abu Dhabi, and UK. He is currently serving as a principal of Mayoor Chopasani School in Jodhpur, and under his leadership, school has seen immense growth in all the aspects of education. School is a recipient of British Council International School Award 2016 and have annual student and staff exchange programs with school from Europe. Now, I would like to introduce you to the third speaker of the day, that is Mr. Rohitash Raj, who is the primary head of GEMS and is going to share his views on behalf of Dr.Amrita Vohra. So now moving ahead, our first question for the session is, how would you like to define happy schools? Now, I would request Mr. Sharat Diwari to share his views on it.
Well, the idea about a happy school has always been about happy children. But of course, you cannot have happy children unless they are taken good care by happy teachers who just are not there to transact the curriculum and teach the ABC or 2 by 2 and the physics and the geography. But if they can replace somehow, although it's not possible, if they aspire to replace the parents in the school and act like parents and guides and friends, that will lead to a very happy atmosphere. And of course, the enabling factors like adequate infrastructure and children having plenty of opportunities to try out different things. And in this line, I would say the new education policy has got a beautiful vision that it gives children the chance to pick subjects and choose what they would like to do and try out early on, which probably as students in our schooling years did not have, at least in our country. So those are the things, very, very basic things that makes school a happy school. Although you can go on, a number of other factors are also very important. And all these things actually, when the schooling came to online, all these factors actually turned into the virtual setting. Again, made a school a happy school, because if the teachers were caring, they were not just concerned about what they were teaching, what was the environment being used, which platform was being used. So that was my benchmark also when the lockdown started, to ensure that the same parameters, same benchmarks for happy schooling, if they could be translated into the virtual schooling mode, then we would be able to serve our clients, our students very well.
Okay. Now, I would also like to know the thoughts of Dr. Rajeshwari Savant. Ma'am, please.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Priyanka, for the wonderful introduction. Happy School to me is a school where children would love to come. That doesn't come by just calling the school a happy school. There are a lot of things that go into making a school happy. First of all, as Mr. Tiwari said, the teachers have to be happy. The curriculum should be such that children would love to come and learn from school, learn not with the point of view of examination, but learning for the love of it. Besides that, of course, the infrastructure makes a very big impact on happiness, because if you see the Global Happiness Index, India ranks far, far behind all the other nations, especially when it comes to children. Schools have to be colorful. They need to welcome children in such a way that children would love to come and spend more time at school than at home. So for that, there's a lot of work that has to go on right from top to down, where each and every teacher, each and every person working in the school wants to make the school a happy school. Now, a school becomes happy when each and every employee is happy. It has the perks, the pays, everything has a relative effect on happiness. And if everybody is satisfied, automatically everyone would want to do what they need to contribute towards a happy school. If you see, when we talk about naturalistic education, which Sri Rabindranath Tagore propagated so much, because of which Shantiniketan came into existence. Why was Shantiniketan such a happy place? Because people studied under trees. It was an open atmosphere where everybody did what they loved to do. Similarly, non-formal schools like the J. Krishnamurti Foundation schools, the Valley schools, you can see the kind of atmosphere that prevails there. There is no threat of examination. Children are allowed to do what they would love to do at whatever time and pace that they want to do it in. So even CBSE, when it is talking, because I belong to a CBSE school, when CBSE tells you that you have to follow a curriculum with the point of view of an examination, that is applicable only from class 9th to 12th, because those classes come under the ambit of the Central Board of Secondary Education. But class 1 to 8 or the pre-primary wing, there are no bounds. You can teach how much ever the child wants to take in. You can teach it the way the child wants to receive it, and you can teach it at the pace at which the child wants to learn. So when all these things come into place, naturally the school becomes a happy class, happy school, and happy schools are happy classrooms. So when we come to the next few questions, I think I'll explain more about it. Thank you.
Okay. Now, lastly, I would like to request Mr. Rohitash Raj to share his views on it. So,
good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes. So for us, a happy school is something like a three-pronged fork, like as Sir and Ma'am has already mentioned about it. So what happens is it's not just students who we are taking into account out here. Happy schools would also entail the staff, and it would also mean the overall stakeholder, that is the mothers and the fathers of the child. So the students being the major stakeholder. Okay, so if these three are all interrelated, and a slight deviation of one part of the fork would actually lead into disruptions in the other parts as well. So for us, we focus on all these three aspects or three stakeholders of our school, and that is what GEMS believes in. That this is a happy school because all the three stakeholders are happy in the school.
Okay. Now, moving ahead, I would like to ask again Mr. Rohitash Raj that what measures are taken by GEMS during pandemic to ensure happy schooling? What were the measures, sir? Yes.
Right. So we will all have to agree here that the pandemic has been really rough. I mean, it's not just for one person or one stakeholder, but everyone in our society, in our community, has been affected by it. So we have been very right from the very beginning, from the word go. When the government of India announced the lockdown, so we were prepared from the start. So immediately when the lockdown was announced, the very next day we went online. All right. So going online required many infrastructures to be in place, which we had already foreseen in the past. All right. So infrastructures like teachers getting laptops of their own. All right. An internet connection that is stable enough to hold all virtual online sessions. Besides that, we also had, at GEMS, we believe that learning cannot be quarantined. Okay, we can quarantine ourselves, but learning cannot be quarantined. So what we did for the staff was that we realized that each teacher, in the beginning, what used to happen was in the comfort of the very own classroom. Okay, there was no one to see, no one to observe what was happening inside the class. But now, when the virtual classrooms was a reality, the teachers were minutely being observed. They were being gauged, they were being judged for every small step that they took. So what we realized is that we need to mention it to them. We need to make it okay for them. So we had to talk to them regarding how to come out of this stress, and how to effectively manage classroom skills. Besides that, we also organize. So what used to happen is usually during physical school, teachers would rather, during the free periods, they would have time to speak to their colleagues. They would have chit chat sessions. We realized the importance of this because it is another kind of a stress buster. So what we did, there was online. We organized, sessions wherein we only let teachers speak. It could be anything which could be professional as well as personal as well. We also made sure that Teachers' Day, which is such an important day for all educators, we did organize virtual Teachers' Day, wherein we gave them themes, and teachers were very excited. So that is what we did for our staff. What we did for this kids was that class teacher time or the homeroom time. In the physical class, we just had 5 minutes only. So what we did for online time was that we increased the class teacher time by 40 minutes. So 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon. And we allowed students to talk to the teachers about any concerns, any issues that probably they're facing at home, probably in class, probably with their maths, physics, science, whatever they had issues with, they could gladly talk to the class teachers and make them understand that. There was also, we also ensured, so what used to happen is the mothers and fathers used to come to our school. They used to send us mails about excess screen time. So in order to facilitate a smooth running of the class, as well as make sure that children are not having a lot of screen time, we would break the entire routine into breaks, 5 minutes breaks, 10 minutes breaks, and then we would also follow the 20-20 rule, which would mean 20 minutes of screen time followed by 20 seconds of break time. So in that 20 seconds, what the child could do was the child could just turn away, or perhaps go get a quick drink, or perhaps do whatever they felt good, so that their eyes are not continuously focusing on the screen. We also managed to rope in famous personalities, like for our various online events. And what would happen was that these events would give students an opportunity to take part, showcasing various skills, which normally in a physical environment that would not have been there, because you know how it gets in a normal physical environment where you have little time and you have so many students in hand. Here we would give them opportunities, like the amount of time we would extend it. So all of that. We also began a 24/7 helpline number in case anyone had any queries, any difficulties. Accommodation of various requests for the students were made. Like, for example, if the child was not well, perhaps someone in the perhaps there was someone in the family who expired, they would be allowed to take a week off. So things like that. Also, one very important thing that GEMS as a school did was, we wanted to help the society as well. So we organized a pastoral care where we provided support and help to retrieve oxygen cylinders and treatments for various individuals, be that from the school or off school. So our administration team was at it, helping them out and being useful in whatever way we had. And last but not the least, we had something known as care calls, wherein we made sure that every class teacher would call their student up at least once a week and gauge what exactly is, because here we are not only looking at the academics, we are also looking at the social emotional health as well. So teachers, class teachers would make sure that they talk to their students at least for 5-10 minutes every week, once a week, so that the general feel of the classroom is felt, and anything that needs to be flagged was always taken up with us, and then that's how we would get back to probably the mother or the father about it.
Wow, that's an incredible work that GEMS has done, that you act as a helping hand for the society, and also, took care of the social and emotional health of the children. Thank you, sir. Now, secondly, I would like to ask Dr. Rajeshwari Savant that what measures Gwalior Glory had taken during pandemic to ensure happy schooling, ma'am?
Priyanka, this news about the corona virus affecting people started coming in the month of January. So somehow I had a premonition as well as an intuition that schools might close down in March. So we finished our exams in February, fortunately. And I started putting my teachers on to creating videos, because none of us were very aware about, the online mechanism of online classes, right? So I had asked my teachers to start preparing videos for the lessons, number one. And now the activity teachers, that is music, dance, and the librarians, right? As well as the sports teachers. I told them to start preparing modules, which are going to be easy for kids to learn from home. So they started this work at the beginning of March, and 14th of March, schools were asked to close down, right? So we didn't have a setback as such when suddenly schools were asked to close down. And one very good thing that we did is we declared our school as a happy school in 2019. So we had developed a curriculum for a happy school, for a happy classroom. And I had also attended a workshop conducted by CBSE in 2019 in Delhi about happy schools. So there were a lot of things that I had got from that workshop, and we had initiated this even before that at school. So every teacher was geared up to keep children happy, number one. Number two is we very quickly created WhatsApp groups and broadcast groups, and the school has a school management software. So communication was very, very fast. So there was no break in communication in spite of the school suddenly closing down. And we kept on assuring parents, kept on assuring the children, especially the younger lot, the primary ones up to class 6 or 7, because they are suddenly locked up at home 24 hours and 7 days a week, not going out to play, not communicating with their peers, because that is what they look forward to when they come to school. Talk, and, discuss everything under the sun. But that was totally, shut down for them. So we said that communication channel which the kids need, we need to keep it open. So the teachers were constantly in communication with kids, and we have 5 counselors at school. So these counselors would call up, especially children who are the introvert kind, who don't express too much. So they used to call up these children at least once a week to find out how they are doing, anything that they would like to talk about, right? And by May, we tied up with Microsoft Teams. So that was one very important thing we did, because that was a platform we needed where we could see the children. So it would be a two-way communication. So we continued with the classes till 23rd May using Microsoft Teams. And that barrier of a one-way communication was broken. And kids were so excited, even though it was a screen visibility, kids were extremely excited to see their teachers, to see their friends. And even, that excitement was such that it was difficult to control them. So the teachers had to start using devices download apps from the net and start using those, so that only a specific child who's been asked will speak, right? And also to learn the nitty-gritties of using Microsoft Teams, where the teacher becomes the presenter and everybody else is an attendee. So it was fun both ways for teachers as well as students. And that is when we realized how important it was to talk to children. And we roped in our senior class children, that is 10th, 11th, and 12th. They became peer educators because they are trained in this concept. So they were there to handhold the teachers and enter the class, help the teachers in, kind of channelizing the kids' attention. And after every class, every subject period, there was a 10-minute break. So that was going to be a break completely away from the screen. So parents were extremely happy. And we devised so many activities for the children, because it was not more than 2 hours for the 6 to 8, the middle school children, not more than 1.5 hours for the primary wing children, and not more than 2.5 hours for the high school children. So we had to kind of chip in something which would keep them happy, keep them in touch with the children, keep them in touch with the teachers, and also learn. So the teaching pedagogy also, kind of transformed. There was a great change in the teaching methodology, because the classroom teaching, where the teacher is visible, she's able to see all the 40 kids in the class, that was not possible now. So the teacher had to be very concise with her teaching points. She had to use a number of PPTs, a number of videos, all right, and keep the children active, attentive in the class when she's teaching, and not more than 30 minutes. Right? And thereafter, she would start uploading content sheets for them, and uploading mind maps on topics if the chapter was large, or for the entire chapter, one mind map, worksheets, question banks. So all this started happening, and we started taking a feedback from parents, because that was very, very important as to how the kids are faring. Are the kids finding it very stressful because it's an online mode that they are in? And is the screen time affecting their eyesight? So all these kind of questions we floated through a Google Doc form and started getting a feedback. We analyzed the feedback and started working on areas where the parents were finding it a little difficult for kids. And believe it or not, parents were extremely happy. So happy that, the school was putting in so much of effort, and our teachers were available all through the day, even at 11 o'clock in the night, to attend a parent's call. Because we had said, don't, block the communication channels. It's very, very important. We are all at home. We have all the time in the world. We are giving sufficient time to the family also. But these kids need us. This is the time when they need us, any time of the day or night. So teachers were ready. And I must really, appreciate my teachers that they were available anytime the call came. They never complained one bit. And because of this happy school concept, which we had introduced in 2019, we had brought in Zumba during the assembly. All right. So even during the online class, when they would, log in at 9 o'clock, the first thing they would do is have a Zumba workout for 5 to 7 minutes. So that would keep them energized and active to, be ready for the classes. And thereafter, we also had a guided meditation session, which we used to practice at school. So we used to play the audio, and they just had to follow the instructions of the audio for that guided meditation. And then that would calm them down. They would come into that state of calmness, which would help them in, absorbing whatever the teachers were teaching, because these were a few practices which we had introduced when we introduced the happy school concept. So that helped us a lot. And what was happening in school, parents were not able to see. But now that it was a virtual classroom, parents were witness to what was happening in the classroom. So they were very, very happy. And sometimes the parents would also join into the Zumba session as well as the guided meditation session. And they were all appreciation for it. And we wish to continue it this way, because definitely this technology has set in a benchmark for all schools, I must say. where we will have to be in touch with technology, so that our children are going to benefit not only by attending the school physically, but also by using the technology and studying from home. So that's
That's
what is my take on.
amazing work you have done, like as a school leader, that you ensured every bit of, teacher parent, teacher student relationship, that it should not be broken because of this COVID and pandemic times. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words. Now, lastly, I would request Mr. Sharat Diwari that I would like to know what measures are taken by Mayoor during pandemic to ensure happy schooling. So please.
I think I like to call this phase as the test of fire that every school went through. And, the one at the helm of affairs, the school head, had to have sleepless nights because it was about finding solutions, staying awake, and keeping all those intakes, consulting with people. It was not a regular school year or a regular school time that what you are to do. So there was a constant calibration that was required. And as Mr. Rohitash mentioned, there were parents who were demanding more screen time. At the same time, there were parents demanding less of screen time. So there was a polarization of a very unique kind that, until COVID lockdown, you had a school timetable, you had a school schedule, 7:30 in the morning, 1:30, no questions asked. That was running, that was the norm. And now you have some parents who think this way, the others think that way. Now to find the median value was the challenge in all sorts of situations. You have financial compulsions. Parents had to be convinced that it's the teachers who are working. Because they're working from home and on a virtual mode doesn't mean they are working any less. And as ma'am just now mentioned, I also totally agree, and I salute the teaching community that they worked, and those who worked and continued to deliver, they work like anything. And it was like you have to handle your family, your own children, your responsibilities, and then you have to present everything. You have to be your best. You have to ensure you have got a good connectivity with the children. So it was a very, very demanding time for schools, and every fabric, every thread, every shred of the school came under the test. Finances, educational quality, the the cohesiveness between the school head, the teachers, the PE department, the parents, the children. It was a test of fire. And whatever one could do in any given school had its limitations. But what the school had done until 2020 was very, very important. If the school was built on the right lines in the recent years, before the lockdown, the unexpected change that came. And we always believed, coincidentally, we had a workshop for the teachers a couple of years back, and it highlighted the concept of a VUCA world, the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. And so to be prepared for that, if the school was somehow prepared for it, if the teachers were willing to experiment and try out new things, then when this COVID hit and the lockdown came, I think that kind of a school would be in a position to suddenly get into a different gear and continue to deliver. So I think a lot of responsibility rested upon the teachers. It's absolutely certain to give credit to the teachers, and also because it became a very autonomous system at the teacher level. Of course, we could go into every classroom, and that's what I did. Lesson observations and trying to identify what kind of help, what kind of support is needed by individuals. And when we realized that a really good training is required, in the month of May and June, we ensured very intensive 15 days of training for our teachers, so as to how to make interesting videos, how to use different apps like Bandicam, how to get some animation into their classroom. Not everyone is tech savvy. Let's admit this fact. Especially teachers who deal with languages and all probably get to use technology little less as it is inherent in our systems. But I think that's where the teachers lived up to the expectations. And as I had mentioned, the same parameters for a happy school, if one could translate and shift them online, would be a successful venture. In fact, uh, I had prepared a slideshow, and for it was very, very vast for my board. I had my board meeting after a long period of time in the month of August, and it's somewhere on my desktop. If you permit me, I can just share some
Yes,
slides that
sure.
you're asking about. And it's the best practices that we kept on consulting as principals and with the teachers. A lot of discussions, a lot of back and forth consultation, and then coming to conclusions. So I think that kind of camaraderie with heads of the department and the heads having conducting their own meetings, sometimes at 9 o'clock in the night, because that would be a suitable time for the teachers.
Yes.
Could never imagine having department meetings at 9 p.m. in the school. But teachers were happy after having finished their cooking and all, and the family time they were
Everything.
there. So that used to be a very, very unique thing. And let me see if I can still remember after the schools have reopened, can I still use screen share? That would be a challenge now. Yeah. Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So here is this. Okay. Is it changing? You can see the fancy dress show, or it's the same slide. Is it stuck on the first slide? Now these were all. Yes, ma'am Sawant, you wanted to comment? I saw you unmuted. So
I said the slides are changing, sir.
okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So Mother's Day celebration, of course, that made the mother's heart very happy when children performed, and we shared these videos. We also organized inter-school science and technology event come competition. And we could invite schools from different parts of the country. Even one of the schools that we have, one of our sister concerns in Abu Dhabi, Mayoor School, Abu Dhabi, and they could join us. They could connect with us with very little efforts. This was a Marwadi. We got in touch with the local clubs that could lend us support, and children utilized every possible way. We have our partner school in Germany, and the children composed a song and then prepared this and sent it over to them, their 25th foundation day for that school. And that's the Rangoli competition. Mandala Grandparents Day was celebrated virtually. And then, of course, we held various webinars to address various issues that children normally face. So this was on a workshop on gender sensitivity. This was a design workshop, and the show and tell competition. The parents got involved into a number of events, and they wrote beautiful comments to teachers, expressing their gratitude that teachers went out of their way to organize these activities. Now, this is all during the lockdown, and the theme for an international debate that we organized between school in Israel, UK, Germany, and our school was also built on a theme that could foster positivity, new ways to make life productive, after effects of COVID, and benefits of homeschooling. So we in a way guided the children to think on the positives of the situation. Of course, there were a lot of grim developments and grim situations surrounding us that time. But we tried to keep the focus on the good things, the blessings, as they say, to count your blessings. Now, these were the things we could really benefit from. The younger ones, their old photographs, and of course, wherever there was lockdown eased, we organized counseling sessions with the parents, parent-teacher meeting, and the plans for the school, what we plan to do in the years to come. Now, when you have that kind of futuristic view, you try to, that alleviates the pain that you are going through. When you know what is coming next, what is going to be for the school, for their children in the years to come, that's how you create the atmosphere of positivity. I think to make children feel happy is first here in the school community, how you think and perceive things. If you can keep yourself happy, and if you can make things a little more soothing and little less
stressed, yes, yeah,
then it can have an inductive
better
effect.
impact, yes,
Yeah, it can have an inductive effect on the teachers, students, and parents. That's what we tried. We had counseling session. We had this helpline open for our students 24 hours. And our school counselors were available to the children. We also organized the annual function virtually and acknowledged the academic toppers as well as the children who performed well in co-curricular activities. We could organize International Dance Day with our partner schools. Debates went online, cooking, summer camp. So much could be organized. Of course, it had its limitations. And when the lockdown eased, first thing that we tried to strengthen was to organize fitness camp on the campus, keeping the COVID guidelines. And this is how gradually we could come out of the gloom of the lockdown, and that has been a beautiful learning experience with its own positives and negatives. And I think it's the teachers who have come out as the heroes. They've not been celebrated enough. We were focused on the medical fraternity. Of course, they were saving lives, but what good is it to be alive if you're not happy? And that's where for these children, the teachers have done such a fantastic job that I wish I could have been personally more involved directly with children. And I used to be into their different classes. But I was reminded of the time when I was myself a career teacher and used to be in the classrooms. And my heart goes out to all the teachers. I think without this fantastic team of teachers, we couldn't have accomplished, despite having lots of great ideas. So it's the teachers who got us through and did a fantastic job.
It feels so great that we have incredible school leaders with us, and this teacher fraternity, or you can say this education department is going to really going to mark the path of success. And I feel really great that I'm also part of education society. I feel really great. Okay, now coming on to the next question, that is, as we all know that in present and in futures, also in future, hybrid mode of schooling is going to play an essential role, right? It is going to play an important role. So as a school leader, how can we quantify happy schooling? Now I would like to request Dr. Rajeshwari Savant to please express her views on it.
Pandemic or no pandemic, Priyanka, the hybrid mode of learning is going to continue. Now, this has given us ample scope to ponder over how school is going to be once the coronavirus is going to be wiped out of this world. So we've already started planning on this, because normally a school runs for 6 hours, right? So, and since our school is also placed on the outskirts of the city, so commuting time is both ways 1 hour. So I am thinking in such a manner that the kids spend just about 3.5 hours at school. And these 3.5 to 4 hours will be a blend of more of activities and less of the classroom interactions. Because the new education policy 2020, it's talking about a lot of changes in the curriculum and pedagogy, right? So that is going to play a very, very important role in how we are going to plan our schools working henceforth. And the pandemic has, if not anything, it has taught us one positive as to how to work from school, how to work from home. And teachers are well versed now. Schools are well equipped with technology, with software, with a lot of apps, as Sir was also saying, animation and stuff like that. So it's going to be very easy for us to do both ways. So hybrid learning is going to involve physical presence of the kid in the classroom and also beyond the classroom, right? So we are working in such a way that things that can be done from the home front, those things will be given for the home assignment, and the kid is going to spend more time doing hands-on activities at school, a lot of physical activity, because we have realized there's nothing more important than health. Lots and lots of lives have been lost today only because of lack of immunity, right? If we have a strong immune system, any kind of a virus is going to be, shut out of your body because you're immune to it. So a very strong plan to keep kids physically active. Most of the time they're going to be out playing or doing something in the sun, because vitamin D is something we have realized that they should get a sumptuous amount of it. So the school is going to do this. Of course, at home, parents are going to take care of it. But even the health angle is something which we are working upon, which we will be, kind of introducing once the school becomes full-fledged, and have the kids more on the outside. The classrooms are now going to be just to come kind of have certain interactions, and the rest of the time is going to be out of the classroom. It could be labs, it could be the library, it could be the playground, it could be the auditorium. So we have started creating spaces in school where children are going to be. The classroom is just going to be to go get their attendance done, and at the end of the day, go collect all their things and get back into the buses. So we are planning on this, and hybrid learning, yes, is going to come and is going to stay. And my conviction, I can say, is all these coaching institutes which are making a fast buck by trying to fool parents are going to close down, especially with the NEP 2020 and schools adopting to this technology and teaching methodology. We are going to be the winners, because schools are doing a lot. What the schools are doing, no coaching institute can replace it. And of course, one word of advice to Abhinav, I think he's there. I think even the publications have to adapt to this change, make the textual content minimal, and give a lot in the form of digital content. Be it activities, be it worksheets, be it experiments. These have to go in the digital form, and the textbook be as thin as possible, so that kids just have to put in 2 or 3 textbooks into their bag and come to school happy with a light bag. That's what I want to see. Right. Because I don't like this of heavy school bags. Let the kids be free. Now the children are coming to school. I'm permitting them mobiles. Of course, I'm giving them certain, guidelines, and lines are drawn that they should not access the social media. They should not click photographs. They can bring their laptops to school. We should adapt to this change now.
Yes, sir.
We should. There's no way out. And if we try resisting this, we are finished.
And to add to your point, ma'am, right?
Yes, sir.
We are the only one educational company, because we are not just into books. We are the only educational company which is going beyond digital content. Yeah. Right? So none of the publishers, none of the educational companies are offering free live classes to the school kids with the books which they are going to use. So earlier they used to get the animation, the question paper, right? Now they're getting one-to-one, online live counseling from the teachers with just one click away.
That's good, Abhinav. You made a start.
Sorry to interject. And yes, Priyanka ji, with due permission from you, I would like to add to what Ms. Sawant was saying. Yeah, that's enough of virtual this thing. The children need
Yes.
to
Yeah.
move around. And
Absolutely.
on that count, I would say, and I'm sure Mr. Pradhan is listening, this is my last virtual webinars. I'm not going to accept any more virtual. We have to be taken to a spot where we can, climb some hills or build some sand castles, because we are also tired of this screen time.
Tired
This
of
is
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
term people are using is screen fatigue. And take us out. Only then I'll be part of any other webinar, not virtual.
Yes, yes. And sir, I still remember when I met ma'am, Dr. Rajeshwari Savant in 2019. I told her that the first session which we are going to organize, that will be in Bhutan, right? But because of COVID, we were never able to do that, right? And I think maybe as you said, I'll take your words very positively. This is going to be the last virtual session with you, but the next will be most probably in some of the very good location with some better educational system which are prevailing in that location. That's how we were planning now. Yes, sir, please.
Okay. So now I would like to request Sir Rohitash Raj, Mr. Rohitash Raj, to just express your views about the same, this hybrid mode of learning. What do you want to say about it?
Right. As ma'am has said, hybrid mode is indeed the thing of the future now, and we are all looking at high tech classrooms wherein we'll have the facility to not only attend it offline but as well as online. And but when I was listening to your question about whether happiness can be quantified, and according to my opinion, I wouldn't say quantified, because happiness is more on the subjective side. So if I were to give you an example, a child could be thrilled to be at an art class. He or she would love to be in an art class, whereas the same group of the same class, another child would rather be happier in a music class. So we can't say that, okay, this child, he likes to be in an art class, so his happiness quotient goes up. So I would rather, in fact, gauge happiness by the evidences that we can have as a school. Like, for example, attendance is one of the main factors when you talk about happiness. A happy child is a regular child at school. The moment we realize that a child is probably not coming for online classes, probably switching off their videos, so we realize something is troubling the child, something is bothering the child, due to which we have our necessary checks in place. So besides that, trust factor that we have from the father, the mother, the relatives of kids, grandparents. So what actually we believe that parents trust us, and that is why they are beginning to send students to physical school now. And that is also another part of the happiness factor that we would like to look at as a school, right? So the entire lockdown, this entire episode, this experience has taught us a lot of things. But being happy is one of the most important that I would say, because students prior to this lockdown would take school for, they would say, aaj school nahi jana, chutti maar leta hu. But when you look at students now, they're so eager to come to school. They want to come to school at the drop of a hat. So what had happened was, I would like to relate a small experience. We as a school, in order to facilitate physical and offline students to come to school, we rolled out Microsoft Forms wherein we asked parents for their consent. So we did not expect much, because considering the fact that parents are a little precautious about the safety of the kids. So we thought we will not have much. But the moment it got rolled out, the positive response that we received was tremendous. Every child was ready to come to school, and that led us to believe that students are really excited now that finally the lockdown is over and we are ready to come to school. Because they have realized the importance of being at school, because they realize that staying at home locked up for almost 2 years has taken a toll, not only on the physical aspects but the spiritual, the emotional aspects. So I would say this is the biggest learning that we as educators, we as a school have had during the past year.
True, sir. So, moving ahead, I would like to ask Mr. Sharat Diwari, just share your thoughts about the same, sir.
Yeah, sure. As I was listening to the other two honorable experts on the panel, I was also wondering about the happiness quotient, not just related to the mode of schooling, whether physical school or virtual or the hybrid. More importantly, it's about what schooling is all about. And this pandemic, the lockdown, gave us a chance to pause and reflect. Unfortunately, I'm not sure whether this would be taken seriously by the educational governing bodies and educational institutions across the board. That what is important for a child? Is it that heavy load of curriculum? Uh, you give so much to them to mug up, and you try to give to a child this special coaching in maths and physics and all, and you have that depth, and the child grows like a straight vertical tree, gets into some great university, finds a very nice job, fantastic package, very demanding job, of course. But ultimately, is a child going to be really very happy? Is he going to be a balanced human being? Is he going to be a happy son, happy husband, happy wife, happy parent in the later years? And that is what is going to make our society either really happy or unhappy. So one stakeholder in this entire discussion, I think we need to also focus is the parent. If the parental expectations continue to remain the same, I'm afraid a majority parent would again push the child into this coaching business, into this streaming, और आपको ये बनना है, मेरा बच्चा ये बनेगा, इसको तो ये बनाऊंगा. Now, if we continue to have that, I think somewhere the happiness is continue to get compromised. Probably this was a great wake-up call. We could have taken this as an opportunity, and the new education policy, of course, at the school level offers that. But what about the job market? I think the major challenge that we have in our country is about the population and the lack of opportunities after a child moves out of the school system. Unless you are into that university, that top bracket of universities, you feel that you might not get that prestigious job. But the matter of fact is, even if you don't get those, overly hyped jobs, you still can be very, very happy. So our connection, the society's this kind of obsession with linking money with happiness and a great job with happiness somewhere has to be revisited, and probably a movement or some kind of consensus has to be built where the happiness has to be found somewhere else, not outside, but inside. I think that is what I would like to emphasize. And this was a great year. The academic pressure was kind of off. The curriculum was made easy. The examination, the board exams are also going to be not so heavy and stressful again this year. Can we do something about it? And I think my EduBag here can continue to offer more goodies and more platforms for happiness. And maybe you can also add a catchphrase, my goodie EduBag, full of goodies.
Yeah.
So you can more than there are plenty of coaching centers, and I wish they all closed down, like Ms. Sawant also, was thinking on those lines, because they put the happiness of the society. You churn out multitudes of engineers and doctors, and they go back into coaching, and they're producing more engineers and doctors, but they are not actually serving the nation. They are not actually serving the society. It's a very complex scenario where happiness has to be discovered and established with a lot of efforts, and at very, very different levels. I think it's a huge challenge for the governments, for the society, for the parents. Schools are trying their level best. I think solution has to be found at many other different locations at different levels.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. So to conclude today's session, now we all are convinced that the concept of happy schooling is possible if we implement the practices followed by all our eminent speakers for the day. And I extend my gratitude to Dr. Rajeshwari Savant, Mr. Sharat Diwari, and Mr. Rohitash Raj, who enlightened us with their proven best practices for happy schooling. Thank you so much, and also to all those who have attended the session. Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priyanka.
Most welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you.
Most welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Most welcome, sir. Yeah.